Hi, this is Money Mastery with Dee Dee. I'm glad you could join us today. Today we're talking about iBonds. iBonds are a fascinating investment product, and right this minute, because inflation is kicking up higher, iBonds are becoming attractive. So most of us remember savings bonds when we were kids. If you're old enough, you maybe were buying them using stamps at school. iBonds came out in the late 90s as a way to hedge against inflation. They have a base rate and then inflation on top of that. So an iBond looks at CPI and based on CPI sets its interest rate. Now, what's interesting is the interest rate gets set twice a year. And right now, the yield is 7.12%, which is pretty amazing considering it is a risk-free return. Now, does that mean if you buy it now, you get 7% forever? No. So let's talk about some of the mechanics of an iBond. So it's a something issued by the government, so it's guaranteed, and there are limits to how much you can purchase. Each year, it's a $10,000 limit per Social Security number to buy electronic iBonds. So a married couple would buy $10,000 each per year. And then if you want a paper iBond, I know that sounds crazy, you can actually buy one of those with your refund from your taxes. If you're getting a refund, you can buy that there. So the limits keep giant investors from buying these all up. It's really trying to make it available for everybody. So that's kind of cool. What are the other characteristics about an iBond? So you buy them not at your bank, not through an investment advisor. You go to a website called Treasury Direct and you link it to your local bank account. You send them the money and boom, you have an iBond. Awesome. So once you have that, what happens? Well, for the first 6 months, if you buy it now, you're going to earn that 7.12%. Will they mail you a check at the end? Nope. The way iBonds work is the interest is accrued until you redeem the bond. Great. So when could that be? Well, you can redeem them anytime after you've held it for 1 year, and they can go as long as 30 years. So let's talk about what that looks like. So just so you know, the reason they're so attractive right this minute is even a return of say 3.5% would be amazing. So let's imagine for a minute that inflation next spring drops to zero and the return on the iBond drops to zero, which by the way, they can if if inflation is low enough. So you get 7.12% for the first 6 months and then nothing for the next 6 months. You could actually redeem that iBond at the end of 1 year. Cool. That means you got 7% on the first half of the year, nothing on the second, for a net return for that 1 year of 3.5%. And right now, getting 3.5% risk-free is unheard of. So right there, iBonds are amazing. Now, but they do have those limitations. Like I said, you can't redeem for that first year. It's locked in. And if you redeem anytime between the first year and the fifth year, you forego the final 3 months of interest. So in my scenario where I just said interest drops to zero for that second half of the year, you'd forego 6 months of zero interest. No big deal. But if inflation sticks around, these investments will continue to have a return matching inflation. So it's a nice hedge. Is it going to balance out a $1 million portfolio? No, but it is available to most folks. So it's something worth considering if you can buy, put your money in there and lock it up for that year. If you need the money to be paying the bills, not for you, don't tie it up. But if you can invest for a little bit longer, if you're somebody out there who tends to buy, say, 2, 3, 5-year CDs, this could be a great option for you. Definitely worth looking into. And very, very risk averse people, this is something definitely worth looking into. One thing you might want to know is, how are these taxed? The cool thing about it is the interest that they earn is not taxable at the state or local level, just federal level. And you have a choice on how to pay taxes on the interest that you earn. You have the choice of paying as you go each year, or not paying tax on the interest until you redeem it, which is when you're going to get the income anyway. And I've never met anybody choosing to do the as you go. Just know that that's an option. Most people wait until they redeem it to pay those taxes. So it makes the record keeping much, much easier. But you do have the choice. There's people out there who might need that income to balance out something else in their financial life, and you have that choice. So great investment. There's some limitations on it, how much you have to put in, you're allowed to put in. There's a cap on it. The investments can go as low as $500 all the way up to $10,000 per social security number per year. And you can hold it anywhere from 1 year to 30 years. And you get to decide how you'd like to pay the tax on the earnings, if you want it as you go or all at the end at whatever point you choose to redeem it. So there's liquidity issues, there's nice risk-free returns, but the risk of it going to zero is not unheard of. Up until recently, they were earning zero. So we could go back to that scenario fairly quickly. So this is a strike while the iron is hot situation. And if you've got liquidity to take advantage of it, it's worth considering. There is one other interesting little feature about this that might not apply to everybody, but if you're somebody who uses, say, mint.com or any other aggregator, you cannot link this account with those aggregators. So you'll need to keep track of these separately. In this day and age, we all get so many accounts and all these little pieces floating around. It's hard to keep track of things. And so that's a downside, in my opinion. There's no way to link that. Definitely not a deal killer, but just something to know going into it. So that's iBonds, a risk-free return of 7.12% right now. And if you're interested in knowing more, certainly put a comment below, reach out to us. We're happy to help you. Have a great day and enjoy your money mastery.